Hello, millionaires. Yep, I'm calling you millionaires because I believe once you get your credit together, that's where you're going to be headed. So eventually, this group name will change from Boo to the Rescue to the Millionaires Club. Sounds good to me. Anyway, I hope you all did the first step that I asked you to do, which was to pull your credit report, highlight all the derogatory marks, which should have included anything that was listed on there that said canceled by creditor, paid in full for less, settlement, open but was delinquent. You don't want any of those type of words on your credit report that is considered derogatory. Sold to another collection agency, any discharge, you don't want any of that on your credit report. So highlight anything that doesn't have the green OK. And if you have one with the green OK, but you have on there 30 or 60 days past due on it, you want to have that removed from your credit report. On certain things like that, you can contact the bureau and have them to you can ask them to verify it, and most of the time if it's 2 or 3 years back, they won't respond to that date and they'll just automatically come off anyway. But one thing I need you to know, that when you are scrubbing your account, which is this is what I'm preparing you to do, excuse me, preparing you to scrub your account. When you're doing that, do not miss anything. Don't say, oh, I like this, but I don't want, no. Scrub everything that's derogatory. Collectors, I want to share with you, through my own experience, the reason you don't owe those collectors is because once the original creditor closes that account, they are refunded by the government at least 70 to 80%, sometimes 90% of their money back when they write it off in taxes. They take the remainder of that money that they lost and they sell it to collection agencies for the remainder, which the original creditor eventually gets their whole 100% of their money, because they sold penny on a dollar, but it's a penny on a dollar where they're going to make up for what they lost. The collection agencies, when they come to you, they are coming to as a risk. It's a risk. They know you don't owe them, but it's a chance that they take. Now let me give you a quick testimony. I went to court about 2 years ago for a credit card that I had, but the creditor closed the account, and it was a valid account. They closed it because they said that I wasn't supposed to have that particular card. They made their mistake. Anyway, they closed the account, and I didn't want to pay for it because it wasn't my fault. But anyway, so it stayed on my credit for a while until eventually it was sold to a collection agency, which is it was an attorney's office. Now, they recently started selling bad debt to attorneys, where attorneys law firms could not purchase those type of debts, but the laws have changed. So I had to go up against a law firm. I went to court. I did all the paperwork. I had help, and I won my case because they could not verify all of my information, and they did get more information than they were supposed to get, but they did it in a fraudulent manner. And we could discuss that later if you ever get to that point. They did it in a fraudulent manner, and I proved it in my opposition for the judgment to be dismissed. And the attorney had the judge had an opportunity to read over my case during our lunch period. And when she came back, she sat me down, had the attorney stand up, questioned him everything that I had placed in my paperwork, and I won my case. Like I said, the courtrooms, the people that were remaining in the courtroom, they clapped the people that were working behind, the judge, the security, and all. They clapped because they said that I was the first one to challenge the collection agency in court. I mean, to go all the way. Normally, people will show up to court and then they'll make an arrangement with them, and then they won't, end up not going into the courtroom. Never make an arrangement with them. If you have scrubbed your account, you need to now open up those envelopes, and you need to have them to verify that they own it. Now, if you're interested, you just let me know in this closed room session, and I will send you sample letters on how to verify your account. You just simply going to write that collection agency, and you're going to tell them that the things that you want them to verify. Verify your address, your phone number. You want them to verify when the account was open. You want them to show you a list of all the things that you charge, but they can't do that. So you're going to win your case. Usually when you verify, they run. And that's why you end up getting 2 or 3 collectors on the same account. They run from you. They push you aside and they go to the next person. You don't owe those people. So verify, please verify, because if you let that 30 days go by that they give you, then you're doing just what they said. You are verifying to them that you do own that account, and you don't want that to happen. Also, check on your credit report and make sure there's nothing on there that's past the 7-year statute. There's a statute of limitation that's on the credit that they have for the state of Michigan, which is 7 years. In other places, it may be 4 years or 6 years, but if you live in Michigan, it's 7 years. And there sometimes are times where those items are still on your credit report where they're supposed to just come off, but a lot of times they don't. So you need to make sure of that, because if you have a credit item on your report that's past the 7-year mark, then all you simply need to do is contact the credit bureau, and you tell them that it's past the statute of limitation, and it automatically come off. And then, although it may be past the statute of limitation, creditors or collectors will still try to come after you, but they can't have that put back on your credit report. They can't do it. And another thing, here's another trick. When collectors contact you, don't discuss anything with them over the phone. Never. Everything should be in writing. Everything. So, and when you do it in writing, when you send your verification letters back to them in writing, make sure you send it certified mail. That's what that green card that you sign, so that you'll know, they have to sign to receive the letter, and then they'll send it back to you, and then they can't dispute and say, well, you never did respond. You have proof. Everything should be certified. Another thing is when you, after you contacted them, most of the time you won't hear back from them. They'll sell it to the next person. But after you do the verification part of it, it's called the waiting game. If they do not report to the bureau within 30, 45 days, it automatically comes off of your credit report. Let me see. What else? I don't want to miss anything on that. Collectors. I don't want you to be afraid of the collectors at all. They don't owe you anything. You have to believe that. You have to know that. They don't owe you. It's a business. So now, part 1, you pulled your credit report. Part 2, you highlighted everything. Now you're working on your verification letters. If you want a sample, I will post it in this group here. You just take away the names that's on there and put your name in, your company name in. Send that off ASAP. Send off as many of them as you can to all the derogatory ones. Late payments, that's a derogatory. Then after that, I could tell you what to do next. Now, here's a quick start. For those of you who say, well, I don't have time to do all that. A year ago, before I moved to Atlanta, my credit score was really down. And it wasn't because I was doing a lot of credit. I had a lot of things on there that should have been removed. But I wanted to get a home while I was here, to purchase a home while I was here. So this one company led me to a group called Lexington Law Firm. You may have heard of it. I'll put a link on here to their site. It's called Lexington Law Firm. When I say my credit score was low, and within a week's time, it jumped from the 5s to the 700s because of simple stuff that they removed. And I couldn't believe it. So a lot of times people would think that their credit score, it would take years to get your credit score to go up. No, credit scores can go up in a matter of days. It may not be reported until 30 days, but it jumps. Well, Lexington Law Firm is a legit law firm. They charge $99 a month. And what they will do for you, they will fight and remove all derogatory marks off of your credit report. They will remove excessive inquiries off of your credit report. They will report to you often regarding your credit and any changes on your credit report. They report to you. They do the impossible. Honestly, God, they do the impossible. And that's what prompted me to share with you what I'm sharing with you now. Lexington Law Firm is a law firm that you need to make a connection with if you want that jump start. They also have a $49 a month where they'll still remove everything, on a consistent basis, but you won't be informed as much as you would if you paid the $99. The $99 a month is not a bad deal. Honestly, God, it's not. I was skeptical at first. I said, but what the heck? Let's see. And when 5 days, I think it was 4 or 5 days, my credit score jumped from that 557 to a 718. Blew my mind. Then I went crazy. Before we moved from Detroit, I ended up paying, my credit dropped again. Unbelievable. And that's when I learned another lesson. Because I upped my credit cards. You could do it on the matter of seconds when you had that type of credit. I ended up getting a platinum card, from a classic to a platinum card, and I went into ABC Warehouse and was able to get instant credit. And I moved here to a furniture store, was able to get instant credit, and I maxed it out. I maxed everything out. So it dropped me all the way back down. I'm like, oh man, had good credit. Everything on my credit report was fine. I'm paying on time, but I was past that debt to credit ratio. I had too much credit, and when you have too much credit or too much debt, and it's not balancing, they won't give you your credit. It drops your score like you've never had credit before. And so as I started paying on my card on time and more than the minimum, and started paying on my furniture card, my ABC Warehouse card, my credit score just started zooming, just jumping. So now, if you're in that situation where you can afford to pay $99 a month, I would go ahead and jump on that, because everything that I'm teaching this group to do is what they'll do for you. Otherwise, you can work with me and you can do it yourself. But once you get to the point where you need aggressive representation, you need to call on Lexington. So I think that was it for this second video. The next go around, I will tell you about how they determine your credit score. Well, I can give that to you quickly. 35% is payment history. 30% is debt to income ratio. 15% is the amount of time that you have had credit. The longer you have credit, have a certain credit open, the better your credit report. The type of credit, and then 10% is based on your new credit. I can get into details, or you can research it, but that's something that you need to be aware of. There's a lot of tricks that you can use. For instance, if you go to the credit, contact a collector. If you want to do it this way, you can send them, and they contact you, and you really feel like you want to pay this or whatever. You send them a letter, and you tell them in that letter that, say for instance, you owe them $300. I am willing to pay you this $300. I will, if you're willing not to respond to any more correspondence from the credit bureau, and you put that in writing, and you fax that over to them, and you tell them in that writing that you're going to give them, you will send them their money within 24 hours of receiving their signature saying that they will not report this debt any longer to the credit bureau. Once they send that back to you, you're going to send them their money in full for whatever you owe them. And then once they receive that money, then you contact the credit bureau and you tell the credit bureau, I don't owe this debt. And the credit bureau is going to contact them, and they're not going to respond because they made a contract with you that they would, just by that one little signature, that they would not respond, and then automatically comes off your credit report. That's just what I know. Acquired a few tricks, and that the attorneys use. Dr. Grayson taught me. So I'm not going to hold on this I didn't want to ever do a 15-minute video, but since we're in a closed group and I think you're serious-minded, you would probably want to hear everything that I say. Now look, I am an avid user of, what is it I'm trying to say? I'm using Glide. So in Glide, we can have 50 people, 5 people in a group at a time. It could be easier that way. That way everybody can discuss what they want to discuss. You don't have to discuss your main business, but if you got credit problems, hey, let's work together and get it and fix it. If you have any knowledge on some of the things that you can do to correct your credit, or some things that you may have experienced, or someone else then share it with everyone. It's time, everybody, for us to get our credit together so that you can live in the house that you want to live in and not have to pay all that interest, buy the car you want to buy, and you have more of the principal going towards the car than the interest. You want to be able to do that. To have bad credit in this time of day is not a good thing. You should be able to live off of your credit. Literally, they call it, in real estate, they call it OPM, other people's money. You should be able to live off of other people's money. I kid you not. So I hope you enjoyed this segment. I will be sharing with you some other things. I didn't want to give it to you all at once. So pull the credit report if you haven't pulled it. Open up those collector's letters. Start doing those verifying. Never throw away another collector's letter. Never, ever, ever. They will end up putting a judgment on you and garnishing your check because you did not respond. And don't forget, look for canceled by creditors, paid in full for less, settlement, open, was delinquent, anything that's derogative. Remove it, verify it, and contact me. Let me know you need a verification letter. If you send me your email, I'll post it to you tonight. If you haven't, give me your email in my inbox, and let's get on the road. And please give us a praise report when you get them back, because I tell you, if you start today, we'll have a praise report from you within probably 2 or 3 weeks. All right, y'all have a blessed day. Talk to you.